You've probably heard the phrase, think like a lawyer, right? It conjures up this idea of a super sharp, logical, almost bulletproof way of thinking. But what does it actually mean? And what if that very way of thinking is at the heart of a legal system that's, well, starting to show some serious cracks? Today, we're going to break down that mindset and explore a powerful new idea that might just be changing the whole game. This isn't even a new idea. The great jurist Oliver Wendell Holmes pointed this out over a century ago. He said that behind all that logical structure, there's always a human judgment about what's important. It's often unconscious, but it's the very root and nerve of the whole thing. This idea right here, it's the key to everything we're talking about. All right, so if we want to understand the system, we've got to start with how the people inside it are trained to think. Let's dig into the actual formula lawyers are taught to use, the one that really shapes their entire approach to justice. So what is legal reasoning, really? At its core, it's about taking the messy, chaotic stuff of real life and fitting it neatly into a structured process. You find the right legal rules, you apply them step by step, and you reach a conclusion. It's all designed to be clean, logical, almost scientific. And when I say structured, I am not kidding. Legal education has come up with a literal alphabet soup of formulas to teach this stuff. Get this, there are over 40 different acronyms out there. You see a few here: IRAC, CRAC, TRIAC, MIRAT. They're all just slightly different recipes for the same dish, trying to create a perfect, repeatable, almost mechanical process for getting the right answer. The most famous one, the one they all come back to, is IRAC. It stands for Issue, Rule, Application, Conclusion. It's a simple four-step dance. First, you pinpoint the legal issue. Then, you state the governing rule, the law. Next, and this is the key part, you get to the application, connecting that rule to the facts of your case. And finally, you draw your conclusion. It's clean, it's linear, and it's a really powerful formula. But here's the thing, this formula doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's all in service of a much bigger worldview, what we call the adversarial paradigm. And this, right here, is the crucial insight. Our entire legal system is built on the assumption that the best way to find the truth is through a fight. It sees conflict not as a problem we need to solve, but as the necessary tool for solving it. It treats a good old-fashioned contest as normal. In a traditional court, you can see this worldview in action. The goal is just to adjudicate the dispute, which is really a fancy way of saying pick a winner and a loser. The judge is supposed to be this impartial referee, just calling balls and strikes. The whole focus is on legal rights and what happened in the past, and the process is designed to be formal and, maybe most importantly, efficient. So, what happens when this model, a model built for fighting, is used on problems that need more than just a winner and a loser? Well, this is where we start to see the cracks forming in the system.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if the very process of winning a legal fight actually leaves everyone involved worse off than when they started? These are the kinds of uncomfortable questions, the anomalies, that the traditional system really struggles to answer.
And the evidence is just piling up. We see sky-high rates of people reoffending, recidivism. We're learning that the court process itself can be psychologically damaging or anti-therapeutic for the people in it. The system often fails to get at the root cause of why people are in court in the first place. And you know what? It can even make the lawyers and judges who work in it cynical about their own jobs. But in response to all these cracks, a totally new worldview is starting to emerge. It's one that sees the law's purpose in a fundamentally different light. It's called therapeutic jurisprudence, or TJ for short, and you can think of it like a new lens for looking at the law. It asks a really simple but incredibly powerful question. What is the real-world human impact of this law or this legal procedure? Does it help people heal and move forward, or does it actually cause more harm? So what does this actually look like? Let's go back to our comparison. In a problem-solving court, the goal isn't just to pick a winner. It's to solve the underlying problem that brought people there. The judge acts less like a distant referee and more like a coach, someone who's actively engaged. The focus shifts from the past to the future, and the process cares more about being effective than just being efficient. And listen, this isn't just some theory dreamed up in a university. We see it working in the real world in specialized courts. Things like drug courts that focus on rehabilitation, not just punishment. Family courts that push for collaboration instead of conflict. Indigenous courts that bring in community healing traditions. These are all examples of this new model in action. So, this all leads us to the billion-dollar question. Are these specialized courts just small tweaks, little patches on the old system, Or are we actually witnessing a full-blown revolution in how we think about justice? The philosopher of science Thomas Kuhn had a name for this: a paradigm shift. It's not just about changing one theory. It's when the entire worldview of a field gets turned upside down. Think about the shift from believing the Earth was the center of the universe to knowing it revolves around the sun. It's a change in the fundamental rules of the game. And that's exactly the debate that's raging right now. Is therapeutic jurisprudence a true paradigm shift, a deep, fundamental change in our legal worldview? Or is it what critics call pragmatic incrementalism, basically just a bunch of small, uncoordinated fixes without a real solid theory holding them all together? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one single question. What do we want our courts to be for? Should their main purpose be to declare a winner in a fight? Or should it be to actually solve the complex human problems that walk through their doors every single day? The answer to that? Well, that's going to define the future of justice.